Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer, thanks to Madison for this one. Amy controls Tomorrow, Azami's familiar, and Laboratory Maniac. She has 2 cards in her library, and then she goes to draw for turn. What happens? So the first thing that I want to notice about this situation is that both of the cards involved have replacement effects. You can tell because they both use the word instead. To answer this question, we'll need to know what will happen if 2 replacement effects interact. Or maybe not. See, Tomorrow applies to the case described in the original problem statement, but Laboratory Maniac does not. If we read carefully, we can see that Labman only applies if you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it. It's possible to have replacement effects next, but a close read of Tomorrow reveals that it doesn't have you draw a card as part of its replacement effect. So while looking at the top 3 cards of your library will use a very similar physical action to drawing, it's not the same thing, and the game won't consider it as such. So what will actually happen is that Amy will go to draw a card for the turn, and Tomorrow will replace that with an instruction to look at the top 3 cards and then choose one. Since Amy only has 2, she can't look at 3, so she'll do as much as possible, looking at the 2 and then putting one into her hand and the other on the bottom of her library. Let's observe that at no point did Amy try to draw a card from an empty library, so she will not lose the game. Next turn we'll have something very similar happening, except that Amy will only look at 1 card and put that into her hand when she applies the Tomorrow's ability. The turn after that, though, well, that's where things get a little bit more interesting. This time, Amy really is trying to draw a card from an empty library. That means that the replacement effects of both of her creatures can apply this time. Amy is the affected player, so she chooses which one to apply first. Let's notice that both of these replacement effects want to replace drawing a card with something that doesn't involve drawing a card. So whichever replacement effect she chooses here will be the only one that happens. Obviously, the lab man winning the game, well, that's pretty tempting. But if she wanted to, Amy could apply Tomorrow's and get to do basically nothing. Note that in either case, the card draw that Amy was going to take gets completely replaced by an alternative event, meaning that Amy will not have to worry about losing the game to getting decked no matter which way she ends up going. This will work exactly the same for any other card draw that Amy might encounter, not just the normal card draw for the turn during her draw step. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.